Are you tired of games of the year and 100-unit locks? If so, check out the professional handicappers at WagerTalk.com today. We leave all that nonsense for the other guys. And for a limited time, new users get their first daily picks purchase up to $40 for only $1. $1? Whose idea was that? Johnny Detroit? I guess so. To redeem this special, just go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper and their picks package using coupon code TRYWagerTalk when checking out.
What's up, guys? Welcome back right here to Wager Talk TV for another episode of Puck Time. Yesterday was bounce back day for myself. I believe Carmine too, and we both definitely bounced back, got back in the win column. So feeling pretty good today, guys. Record in April for NHL, 31-18. Got a 5% play up for tonight in the NHL. So I'll toss things over to Carm, but man, I'm feeling good. Yesterday wasn't feeling great starting the show off, Carm. Feeling pretty good today, man.
As you should, man. Andrew, you had a great day. I'm happy for you. I'm also, and you're running good, which is why I tell people to, I'm promoting you more than I'm promoting myself. So, get Andrew's, 7-day packages, give him a try and stuff. And then I'm also happy because Brian Leonard absolutely killed it yesterday with a 5% play in MLB as the $2 capper and has a 5% play in NHL tonight that you can grab over at WagerTalk. And our good friend who was on the show yesterday, my Mexican buddy, he's Canadian, but living in Mexico, I'm getting a case of avocados. I'm positive I'm going to get some avocados from him. He killed it with the New Jersey over yesterday as a 5% play at Sports Memos, part of the $2 Tuesday. I went 4-0 in the NHL myself, 6-1 overall. So I was pretty happy about my day overall. And we get to talk about the Canadiens and the Leafs, a possible first-round matchup with this guy. Let's bring him in, none other than The Prez.
Yo, what's up? Like the energy there, Andrew. I'm excited to be here, guys. I had a 2-0 night last night in hockey. Was one of those nights, man. Carm, you and I talked about it. I think if I released 6 plays last night, I would have gone 6-0.
Yeah.
It was one of the. I was just mad. Tampa Bay in regulation, mad. Over in New Jersey, Rangers, Anyway, I'll take my 2-0 run and continue the onslaught, up close to 70% return on investment on the year in NHL. And Brian and I are dueling for the number 1 NHL spot. Monday started, he was 0.7% ROI ahead of me. I'm now back in front by 5%. It's going to be very close. I mean, Carolina, Florida, Tampa Bay, who will win the division close?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
When you're competing, with bankroll percentages like that, that's how you know you've had an unbelievable season. Prez, hats off to you. And if you guys aren't already checking it out, obviously we want to promote Wager Talk today as much as we can, but Prez has his own penalty box segment on Wager Talk today, giving out some free picks in the NHL and promoting his stuff. So when he's not on Puck Time, guys, check out Prez in the penalty box segment on Wager Talk today. Guys, today's games are the Oilers, Jets, Leafs, Habs, Avalanche, Golden Knights, Blues and Wild, and the Canucks and the Senators. And, of course, we're going to have some fun with these games, guys. But let's be honest, there's some playoff implications. There's some rivalries. We got the 2 top teams in the West going at it. It's going to be great. And, Carm, I'm going to start with you with our first game here, the opening face-off game, the Oilers and the Jets. Prez, you mentioned that yesterday was one of those days that you wish you just played more and you had a good read on the card. Last time these 2 teams met, I liked the Oilers and I liked the over. Mentioned it on the show, never made any official plays, didn't put my own personal money on that game, and that kind of stings sometimes. But coming into this game, I'm actually going the opposite direction as far as the total goes, at least. I'm going under. Carm, I know you've had success with totals recently. Where are you going in this game?
Yeah, I would probably lean the under just because the Jets can't score, and I talked about that in the last game, and unfortunately, the Oilers did all the scoring. The Oilers were on a 9-0 under run prior to last Wednesday's game where they ended up losing 4-3 to the Canadiens. And then they put 6 up on this Winnipeg side. Here's the thing here. When you're looking at the side, you need to decide at this point if the Jets' great season has run its course. We know they've had a good season, but they've non-competed their last 4 games in losing twice to the Leafs and twice to Edmonton. Against Edmonton, they've scored 1 goal across those 2 games, with the Oilers scoring 9. They haven't competed in those 4 games, so you either decide not that they've given up, but you decide has that great season come to an end and they're starting to tank a bit, or did they just run into teams that are better than them? I mean, it could be a combination of the two. I don't see how you can possibly take Winnipeg tonight. The lean has to be here on Edmonton.
Prez, what are your thoughts here?
Listen, I hate to call my good pal Carmine Bianco wrong, but I will. The Leafs have lost 13 games all year. Twice they lost 5 in a row. Winnipeg has lost 4 in a row. And we're looking to decide whether they're done? No. They're getting their losses and their slump out of the way. It happens to all of us. This Winnipeg team is a really good hockey team, and I think Edmonton and Winnipeg are going to duel all the way to that Game 7. Do I think Edmonton is better? I do. But I think the spot here is right for Winnipeg. I think they 4 games in a row, all losses. This team has put up 5 goals in 4 games. I lean on Winnipeg here, and I do not think their great season is done. I think we're going to see good hockey out of them. But Andrew, I much prefer the under. I'm going to bet the under in this game. As Carmine was saying, 9-11 to the under for Edmonton, and kudos to them for that, because any team that can score as they prepare for the playoffs, we're starting to see them reshape themselves to a defensive-minded team. Mike Smith is playing well. Their defense is playing much better. They've played Winnipeg twice in the last 4 games. They've held them to 1 goal. They held Ottawa to 1 and 2. I feel like Edmonton is the better team. They are playing to the under. The spot is bad for Edmonton. I'm taking Winnipeg slight, but I like the under, and I'm betting the under personally with my own hard-earned money.
Rebuttal, Andrew.
Right
Rebuttal.
There's no rebuttal.
Yes, there's a rebuttal. There always has. Listen.
I said I like.
And I want a rebuttal to his rebuttal.
You might be an owner and co-founder of WagerTalk, but when you come on to our show, Prez, there is a rebuttal from Andrew and I. Anyways, if Mike Smith starts tonight,
stop right there.
No. Listen,
stop.
Mute his mic, please.
As I say to my children, it ain't your room. It's not your room. I pay mortgage. It's my room. My show.
Is this your?
You are renting my show, and I'm charging you nothing.
Yeah. I live in your head. I live in your head. Anyways, with that said, I'm just going to say this: with Mike Smith in net, and he's having a fantastic season since returning. If the Oilers score 3 tonight, that's probably enough to win, because Smith would have to have one of his worst games of the season for the Oilers to lose this game. So 3 is probably enough tonight, which gives you your under, Prez, but doesn't give you Winnipeg winning the game.
Well, I'm only betting the under, Carm. I'm not betting Winnipeg winning the game. I lean on Winnipeg winning the game. I'm betting the under. And now that I have the mic again, I would like to point out that my weekly power poll is up at WagerTalk.com. Click on the news link. I put a lot of effort into that power poll. It takes hours and hours, and it's must read. If you guys follow hockey, you got to check out my power poll. And in there, I even have a hot wife alert. Oh, yes, I do. So you'll have to find it inside of my power poll.
All right. We'll get back into it. I definitely recommend people take a look at that, though. It does take a lot of work and a lot of effort, and those power rankings aren't easy because some spots you're debating it, and you got to put out articles with all teams. So great stuff there from Prez. And I was on the radio, guys, till about 2 a.m. last night, 3 in the morning, and people in the chat box live were saying, "You're not going to make puck time. You're going to sleep in. You're going to sleep in. You're not going to be there." I wouldn't miss this show if it was the last thing I do in my life, especially on Wednesdays here with Prez. Always a good show, always informative. The Leafs and the Habs. This is why I segue in with that nice compliment, because then I know I'm not going to be respected after anything I say after this. But no, in all seriousness, I'm looking towards the under 6, guys. Leafs and Habs staying off the total. The price is probably where it should be right now. I think we have to give credit to the Maple Leafs for one thing that I haven't given them credit for this year, and that's that they're actually starting to be the bullies and not getting bullied. If I'm a Leafs fan, I love seeing all their players talking smack, hitting after the whistle, being a little greasy, and this isn't even a jab. This is literally what they need to do, add that grit. They already have their superstars. They need to add that aggression and that grit, and right now it seems like everybody in their lineup has that. Also, if you look at it, the Leafs have looked the most poised and the most comfortable lately in lower scoring games. Although they have the power and they have the skill to win higher scoring games, I believe the Leafs have no problem playing in a low scoring game. The Canadiens, well, Prez will tell you, they don't have that many scorers right now. They don't have that many scorers in general this season. But right now, coming off that boring series against the Calgary Flames, I don't really expect much to change. They're feeling good about themselves. They won that third game. That's the game they had to win. But I expect the under train to continue for the Montreal Canadiens. They are back. It's their first game back at home. Typically, we do see that from teams, trying to just play good defensive hockey. This is a team that already can't score. I actually saw at some shops, guys, a 6.5 in this game, which was shocking to me, shaded to the under. But my play here, guys, is under 6. I also wanted to say in that last game, Winnipeg and Edmonton, Nikolai Ehlers out for the rest of the season. That also plays a huge factor, and I do believe that Winnipeg itself, struggling to score, they're going to have to play really well defensive. They're not scoring like Carmine said, so that really does help the under with Nikolai Ehlers not being in the lineup. But Prez, I'll go to you with the Leafs and the Habs. I'm on the under 6 and not thinking twice.
Andrew, look, I like the under 2, but I'll tell you, man, I like Montreal here, and I'll tell you why. Firstly, we've got at least 9, likely 10 games between these two teams over the next month. Yes, 4-1, 4-2 victory by the Leafs in the first round. So 4 more games in regulation, and then likely 5 games when the playoffs begin. I don't love that, man. It's waiting on me the amount of times these teams have played against each. I mean, who wants to watch it? But anyway, with all that said, this is a great spot for Montreal, and I'll back up to a few nights ago. Dallas beat Carolina. It did go to overtime, but Dallas really handled that game. And Nashville beat Florida 4-1. And I liked both Dallas and Nashville in that spot, and it's the exact same spot that is happening in this game. Toronto played a team that they think has potential, a team that they might play in the second round in the Winnipeg Jets, a team that was trying to get above them in the standings. They beat them handily, and now they come to play a team that they could care less about. They don't need to send a message to Montreal, oh, we'll beat you in the playoffs. This is a off game for Toronto. They could give a rat whether they win this game or not. And as far as giving Montreal some confidence coming in to that first round series, please. The Leafs don't care. Obviously, they want to win tonight, but these players all have emotional letdowns. We saw it with Florida after they played a big series with Carolina. We saw it with Carolina after they played a big series with Florida. I like Montreal here at plus 140. And Andrew, I do lean on under the total.
All right, Prez back in the Habs, agreeing with me on the under. And look, I understand they're different in the standings, Carm, but let's be honest. We've seen some close games, 4-2, 3-2, 2-1. This series, despite the difference in standings, it's actually been pretty close this year.
Yeah, listen, I listened to what Prez had to say there, and I'd like to congratulate Brian Leonard on taking the lead soon in the NHL standings against Prez, because I'm on a different take, Prez.
Bet me.
I'm on a different. Listen, you know what you sound like? Okay, I'm just going to say it real quick. The guy who bets against his favorite team. So in the morning when he wakes up, he either has more money or he can at least say, hey, I did like the other side. So that's what it sounds like. But you are having a fantastic NHL season, so I have to give you credit. Much better than I am. But as far as this goes, listen, the Canadiens got that white knuckle victory that they needed, because had they lost that game, who knows what would happen to that fragile ego that is in Montreal. But now they return home, and I look at it completely different. I think this is a flat spot for the Canadiens. I think they come off such an emotional victory, and you saw it when that game ended. That team celebrated like they just won a 7-game series, and now they return home. And can they within a couple days just absolutely turn it back on again and play an intensity tempo game against this Toronto team who's a very good team? I don't think so. I think the Leafs, every game from here on out for the Leafs is meaningful, because I think that coaching staff with Keith knows that they cannot afford to go into one of those 4 or 5 game losing streaks like they just had. They turned the corner. They beat a Winnipeg team who may or may not be tanking. Well, I guess we'll see. But this is a first round preview as well too, and it's not about sending a message, but it's just showing that you are a much better team, and they are a much better team than Montreal. So I'm leaning Leafs here.
Oh, good. I get my rebuttal now, Andrew.
Well, let me rebuttal here, because I actually this is a question. Just not even just me being a Canadiens fan here, Carm. I'm just curious, because you mentioned the word flat spot, but they play 3 straight games against Calgary. All 3 of those games were important to Calgary, but the only game that was really important to Montreal was that 3rd game, which they won. I understand you're saying they act like they won the Stanley Cup, but how could it get any worse? How could they go down?
All three games were important to Montreal.
Yeah. So both of you
don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself.
Hey, Lex Luger.
That first game, they should have. If they beat Calgary, they pretty much end it right there. They lost that game. Now they have another big game against Calgary. Again, the Flames win. Don't think that the Canadiens didn't play the first 2 games to compete. Calgary was just better. Montreal did what they needed to do in that 3rd game. Whether they're spent or not,
they had to win 1 of 3.
Yeah, they had to win 1 of 3. What does that say about a team when you go into a 3-game series saying, "Hey, let's just try and win 1 of 3"? If you're a team, you go
Andrew,
to win all 3. You squash them right then and there.
No, I think he's misunderstanding what I'm saying. He's misunderstanding. I'm saying that how can they feel flat after winning the 3rd game of 3 in a row? Those 2 games were horrible, but they won the 3rd game. How could they go backwards? They
Andrew, you're wrong on this. Andrew, you're wrong on this. By the way, Carm is too. But you're wrong on this, Andrew, and the reason is, come on, man. Montreal had a chance in 3 games to actually lock up that final spot, hammer that nail in, and put their foot on Calgary's neck, and they didn't do it.
I'm arguing it isn't a flat spot.
Stuck.
I'm arguing it isn't a flat spot. That's my argument.
It is, Andrew, it is technically, in a situational perspective, in handicapping, it is a flat spot for Montreal, because they just came off an emotional 3-game series with Calgary, and now they're playing a team that they're not chasing in the standings, and really, frankly, couldn't care less about until 2 weeks from now. So by definition, it is a flat spot. I could say
the exact same thing about the Leafs.
The reason I believe that the spot is flatter for the Leafs is because Montreal has lost 2 of 3 and have lost 4 of 6, and they have to get themselves that winning feeling again. So although it is a flat spot for both teams by definition,
yes,
it is less flat for Montreal because they stink and they have to figure out a way. This team has to score. This team has to get going. And they are running out of games to do it. Whereas the Leafs, they can turn it on.
I will, Andrew. I will add one.
Both teams are
thing.
very, very flat today. They're going to go see a plastic surgeon after the game, maybe do some work to their bodies.
Yeah,
we'll try and.
I will.
we have to move on, Carm.
Yeah, no, I know, because we have 3 other games. I will mention one other thing. There's probably a reason why you're seeing some 6.5s out there, Andrew, and maybe and 6s in other places instead of 5.5. Think about it. Is it because they think Montreal's going to score three or more goals in this game, or is there a possibility exists that the Leafs might actually blow the Canadiens out tonight in what it could be a flat spot? That's all I'm saying. Is sometimes there is a correlation between what the books are releasing and what possibly could happen. Hey, I would love nothing better than a 3-0 Habs win tonight, just so we shut up Leaf fans for a couple more days. But anyways, let's move on to the next game.
Garb, just give me a yes or no. Give me one yes or no. Is it also a flat spot for the Jets? Because the same parameters work for them.
Jets.
Emotional series. Or sorry, for the Leafs.
The Leafs, you mean?
It's also a flat spot for them too.
The Leafs haven't been playing any meaningful games like Montreal just did, or emotional games.
Back-to-back games against the Jets.
Move the show along.
All right. I'm not going to change anyone's mind here. Avalanche and Golden Knights. This is a series that we want to talk about and something that we want to talk about. And for the record, I'm not even getting, rebuttaling Carm about that because they're my favorite team. I'm literally trying to ask him that it's also
oh my God, we're not
flat
back
spot for
on
both
this
of them.
again.
Avalanche, Golden Knights, -120 for the Avs. For the Golden Knights, +120 for the Avalanche. We have Dubnyk, I believe, in between the pipes for the Avalanche. And I'll start with you, Prez. What are your thoughts on the current state of the goaltending for the Colorado Avalanche? I mean, right now, the talent is still there. McKinnon is still unbelievable. We had some injury issues. We had Rantanen in and out of the lineup. We had Donskoy out of the lineup. We had some guys we weren't seeing in that lineup for the Avalanche. And I think that this team is great, but they need all hands on deck in order to be that team we know they can be. Meanwhile, the Vegas Golden Knights, the goaltending has been solid. Defense has been solid, and they're getting the scoring when they need it. A huge game, the top 2 teams, but one of them is favored at -140.
Yeah, Andrew, I like Colorado here. Sorry about that. I was up.
Are you sure you like them?
Oh, my God. Yeah, hey, bugger off, guys. I was watching Suits till like 3:40 in the morning last night. Leave me, and I got construction going on. You want to hear a first world problem, Andrew? We're opening the pool and we're rebuilding the deck. And these freaking construction guys show up at 8 in the morning to rebuild my deck. Anyway, listen, I like Colorado here. 9 games in a row, Vegas has won. Colorado and Vegas, they're zigzagging right now. And Vegas did win their last game, 3-2. But Andrew, I like the over tonight more than anything in this game. I'm betting the over. Look, you mentioned Colorado's goalie problems, and St. Louis put up a 4 and a 5 spot on them. Colorado has been trending to the over. And so is Vegas. Vegas went over with Anaheim and then San Jose. This is the Colorado number 1 scoring team in the league. Vegas number 1 defensive team in the league. But I think we're going to get 6 goals. I like the over, and I lean on the Avs.
All right, lean on the Avalanche and a slight play on the over. I'm right there with Prez on the Avalanche. I like that price there. It's a short dog price, +120. I couldn't quite get there with the total, Carm, because I look at it, and both these teams, when they are going over the total, it's them doing the scoring and them not getting scored on. Yeah. So I'm curious, good offense against good defense. Only 2 times the last 10 games, Vegas has allowed more than 2 goals. They're doing the scoring that's putting the total over themselves. I say if you like the over, find the team you think is going to win and bet their team total.
Yeah, it pains me that I'm actually going to agree with the Prez on this one, but I am leaning to the over 5.5 here. Uh, I get it with Vegas, and work. And Colorado comes off of two bad ones, but goaltending had a lot to do with that as well too. Grubauer, while back finally practicing, is likely not going to see the net until they play San Jose on Friday. We'll see him in net, and then they'll probably go to their Dubnyk on Saturday in the back-to-back, and then it's back to Grubauer, and he probably plays the rest of the way. So that the con is you don't have, as far as the Avalanche goes, but it helps the over, is they don't have their number one goalie in net. The pros are that Rantanen should be back in the lineup tonight. That's going to help the scoring for this Colorado side. Yeah. And while a lot of these games between these two have been lower scoring games, I just think we're going to see goals scored tonight. Vegas has scored 4+ in 7 of their last 9 games, all wins. So they're doing the scoring. They get to face a backup goalie as well too. So that's why I'm staying away from the side. I just think we see enough scoring that we get over this total of 5.5 tonight.
All right, over and 5.5 from both Prez and Carm. And I'm just going to stick with my slight lean here to the Colorado Avalanche side. Also, guys, look at these props. Look at Cale Makar to score a point. Look at McKinnon over 1.5 points. I believe those numbers are still not where they should be as far as the odds go. You can check out Andy Lang, Matt Josephs, and myself every day, 4 o'clock Eastern time on Periscope, giving out free props as well, and the Prop It Up as well on YouTube once a week on the WagerTalk TV channel, giving out great props, NHL, MLB, across the board. Love betting these props. Our next segment, Dumper Chase segment here with the Wild and the Blues. Wild -150, Blues +130. This one, to me, guys, I'll be honest, it's real tough. I'm gonna say dump, and I'm gonna throw it back to you, Carm, because I can't chase this Wild team. I've made my money with them. I'm happy with the wagers I've made on the Wild recently. The Blues, I guess you can say short-term good form. I think for the most part during this playoff push, I've had a good read on teams that are, bet on, and teams that are chasing a playoff spot to follow. But in this one in particular, I don't love the Wild at this price, but I don't know if I love the Blues to play back-to-back-to-back perfect games. So I'll throw it to you, Carm. It's sort of a pass for me, honestly.
Yeah, and I think, Andrew, that last statement kind of nails it on the head as far as like my thinking on this. Look, I like the fact that this game, more than some of the other games that we featured today, or we're gonna talk about in the last game, there's a dynamic that it's an actual meaningful game between these two. The Blues need the win, but they've needed wins, their last 20 or 30 games, and they haven't been putting up W's consistently. And the Wild now have Colorado clearly in their sights. They can see them. They're a point back of Colorado while they played a game more, and they see the issues that Colorado has. The only problem with that is, while it's a meaningful game for Minnesota, is Colorado's schedule the rest of the way, just as an aside, is much easier. They play Vegas twice, but then they have 4 games against San Jose, 4 games against the LA Kings. Those should be slam dunk type games that they'll win as they return to being 100% healthy. But with that said, the Wild are the play tonight. I just don't see how the Blues took advantage of a Colorado team that were missing a couple key guys to the team. And yeah, it's not Landeskog and it's not McKinnon, but still Rantanen and Grubauer are big parts of that team. Can they now beat a Minnesota team that is playing phenomenal hockey? I don't think so. The price is right here. Give me the Minnesota Wild.
And Prez, what do you think about the price of this game? I think it's where it should be, but it's tricky for me. I don't really, I'm not intrigued by either.
I'm just struggling with the fact that I look like Jeffrey Epstein when I watch myself on these shows.
Jeez.
Well, I do.
No comment.
I don't behave like the guy.
No comment.
I don't behave like him. Anyway, Andrew, Wild. I can't bet the Wild tonight. Last time the Wild lost, it was to St. Louis 3-2, and then they got whooped 9-1. So that gives the Wild a lot of revenge. They want to beat this team, but they have won 7 games in a row. Those 7 games, though, San Jose, Arizona, San Jose, I think this might be a soft spot for the Wild, dude. But conversely, Blues just beat Colorado 2 games in a row. I think this could be a soft spot for the Blues. The Blues don't need this game. They're 1 point up. They got 3 games in hand. The math is their friend right now. I think we're going to see an under tonight, Andrew. I'm not touching the side. If I were to touch the side, I would lean towards the Blues, but I like under 5.5.
Prez, we got Terry. We got Terry in the chat box right now saying, "Prez, you never bet the Wild. Carmine for Prime Minister."
Yeah. Hey,
I don't think.
I'd turn this country around. Listen.
Wait. For the record, I have not bet against the Wild. I don't believe I've bet against the Wild all year. So, Terry, you are.
I heard
wrong.
you say sorry, Terry, last week on the show on your.
Yeah,
I give out opinions against the Wild, but all I care about are my client plays.
Before we jump into the final game, I just want to backtrack a little bit. When I talked about Rantanen, they talked about, in the reports, talked about he was going to be on the ice and practicing and would be a game time decision. But in all likelihood, they were looking at Friday's game against San Jose for him and Grubauer to get back into the lineup. So you'll have to check Twitter to get an update on that if you guys are looking for the status of Rantanen tonight.
All right, guys, we're going to keep our next segment really short and sweet. We spent a good amount of time on some other ones, and it was definitely fun doing so. Canucks and Senators, totals 5.5. I'll keep it very short and simple. This is a strategy I'm going to go with for the remainder of the season. Obviously, it won't be an auto bet, but if the situation is right, I will be betting it. Teams that are pretty much out of the playoffs 100%, I'll be betting and banking on them to be out there playing pond hockey with not a blank to give, so to speak, versus these teams, the number 1 and number 2 seeds or teams that are already in the playoffs. They are going to be playing defensive hockey. They're going to be in playoff mode. They are going to be trending towards the under. Teams in the bottom half of their division and already out of a playoff spot, I believe they will go over the total. This is the 4th straight time these teams have played. I'm going over here, Carm.
Yeah, I can't argue with you, Andrew, on that one. I'm sort of feeling the same way. I think we're going to see Hoberg in net again today. I think we see goals here. Oddly enough, they're 10 points back of Montreal. The Canucks are, and they still have an 8.4% chance of making the playoffs, which is higher than Calgary, who are only, I think, 4 or 6 points back. But they also are going to be playing 14 games in 22 days because of being off, because of that COVID thing where they're off 3+ weeks. 14 games in 22 days, including 5 back-to-backs. I think we're going to see more than a few overs with this Vancouver team, and they might be on the wrong end of them in a few of them later on. Give me the over here, 5.5.
Mr. Prez.
Give me the over.
Over. All right. Going to go right back to you, Prez. Give me your best bet for the show and what you have up for today to promote.
I set my best bet for the show in, and it is Winnipeg and Edmonton under the total. As far as promoting goes, I got 2 NHL plays. One's already up. The other will be up in a couple of hours. Check out my NHL poll. And WagerTalk today starts in 25 minutes. Andy Lang will be joining us. We'll be previewing the draft and what bets to be made. Also some prop bets for tonight and Arthur DeCesar as well. Other than that, what a privilege it is to hang out with the two of you guys, even though Carm just purposely wants to disagree with me.
Always fun having you on, Prez, and I'll be checking out the show today. Always check out your guys' show while I'm having some lunch. And Andy Lang, great addition, my prop buddy, so make sure you guys check him out on the show. My best bet is the LA and Anaheim game to go under the total of 5.5. You have to eat a little bit of juice to get there, but with the injuries we have with the Ducks, with this Kings team, the way they've been playing, even when they win games by margin, the total still doesn't really go over. And Prez, you and I said at the start of the year together that we should just, bet the under in every Ducks game. I didn't do that. I didn't do it enough. but I'm going to do it tonight. And I think the Ducks game will go under the total no matter who wins in this game. And I have a 5% play up, guys, in the NHL for tonight. The run is 31-18, start of April, 16-7 run for the NHL 5% plays. This is like my first 5% NHL in I think 3 or 4 weeks. So really excited about this play, guys. Go to grab that at WagerTalk.com. And Carmine, he won't tell you or show any enthusiasm, but he also has a 5% play up in soccer action today. Carmine has been killing it. My girlfriend probably loves Carmine because I buy a lot of gifts for her with the winnings of Carmine's 5% plays. So hopefully another one, Carm, will go to dinner tonight on you, man. Thank you.
As you should, Andrew. Take care of the loved ones in your life, my friend. And listen, 4 games up in the NHL today. Obviously a Champions League 5% play up today as well, too. Within that, there's some prop bets on the game as well, too. Yesterday, we had a prop bet along with Chelsea plus a quarter goal. That we got a half win on that, but we had the 1-1 exact draw at plus 500, so that was good in that one. But 4 games up in NHL tonight, 1 game in soccer. The best bet is, I'm going to go right back to the game we discussed, the Avalanche and the Golden Knights, over 5.5. We're going to see some goals here tonight, I'm certain of, or I hope so. And that'll give us another best bet winner. Yesterday, Tampa Bay in regulation time got there fairly easy against a Chicago side that I think have given it up. So let's get all 3 tonight, boys.
Let's cash these tickets, guys. Always a pleasure. Always a fun time doing this show. We appreciate all of you guys that tune in live or archived after we record. All of you guys in the chat box, love your enthusiasm. I am on the Ducks Kings under, Carmine Avs, Golden Knights over, and Prez Oilers Jets under 6. It's a total filled power play segment here today. Thanks a lot, guys. Best of luck, and we will see you tomorrow.
Tuesdays is known as $2